Lena.
Welcome back. It's our NFL playoff segment today. And there were the Lions and Rams game was excellent last night. It was really good. Happy for those fans in Detroit who have experienced a feeling that they either haven't felt in 30 years or never felt.
Yeah, there's a lot of Detroit fans that have never, ever experienced a playoff win.
Yeah, there was a lot of playoff virginities being lost last night for Detroit fans. And then, the long droughts of that going on. And so that was great for them. I really like Dan Campbell. I really do. I think, I very much enjoy his coaching style. It may not be for everybody or it may not work out, but, look, he's very much of damn the torpedoes, let's just go, and let's try to win the game every time we're given an opportunity to win the game. Sometimes it works out, last night. Sometimes it doesn't, like you did against the Cowboys, where sometimes you, just try so hard to trick everybody that you forget to.
Yeah, I think he let emotions get in the way of that Cowboys game. And frankly, it might be all for the best that the Cowboys didn't beat the Packers, because for them to get a rematch against the Lions, that might have been a very volatile situation.
Yeah, because they would have felt wronged. And the Lions still, I don't know. We're getting to the Cowboys in a second. The Chiefs and Dolphins, the Chiefs just continue to chief. I mean, they figured out kind of who they are right now, as they're a team based on their defense. And, Rashee Rice has been excellent down the stretch for them. The only wide receiver they had, they could honestly let go of everybody on that roster other than him for next year and come in and get the same production that they got out of the rest of their wide receiver room this year. That's not a rookie third-round pick from SMU. Mm-hmm. So, underdrafted, I thought, Rashee Rice. But it's hard to, when you've got receivers from Bama and Georgia and all these places in front of you to maybe, not break through the top, but should make people look a little bit harder.
And I mean, the Chiefs have a luxury in that they have Patrick Mahomes, so they don't necessarily have to prioritize wide receiver the way that every single other team in the league does, because he elevates the level of everyone who catches passes in his offense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the fact that he's got, and look, Patrick Mahomes has not had his best year this year. It's not just on the receivers; it's on him too. But the Chiefs and Andy Reid have figured out who they are. I still don't like them to make the Super Bowl, just because I think there are better teams out there than them right now, and they, the things can change in the playoffs, and Mahomes doesn't lose in the playoffs all that often. But I do think that there's certainly propensity for them to kind of lose. So we'll see. Buffalo and the Steelers comes up here in a minute. The Eagles and Bucks are tonight, and those are teams that did not end the year on the strongest of notes. So we'll see what that means now that the playoffs have started. And I feel like I'm leaving somebody out. Oh, the Texans just ran roughshod over the Browns.
Yeah, that Joe Flacco fairy tale, that he turned into a pumpkin really fast.
Yeah, he turned back into Joe Flacco.
I think he grew his unibrow right back after that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was really pulling for Joe Flacco as a fellow Italian. But that's over now. But let's talk about the absolute disastrous, just Cowboys game. This is, in the run of this, 13 playoff runs now in 28 years that they've not made a conference championship or the Super Bowl. This is the first season where I thought they've actually done everything they need to do to set themselves up in that position without, to have the best path outside of winning the overall best record. Which they did actually, so there's the second one, because there's that Wade Phillips year where they did have the first round bye and lost that one too.
Yeah.
This was from the jump. And there is something, this is why I don't think Mike McCarthy is going to be at the Cowboys anymore. 4 years, they've won one playoff game. And it just seems like he has a game plan, and then if one thing goes wrong early, they cannot ever get the momentum back. So they had a sack on the first drive that was called back because of an illegal contact penalty. So instead of having that emotional momentum on the first drive, Green Bay went down the field and scored. And then from that moment on, it felt like all 53 guys had checked out.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Mike McCarthy hits the wall. That and look, they only scored that touchdown at the end of the half by the grace of the officials calling the pass interference on.
And missing a Tyler Smith false start, too.
Yeah. I mean, so like by the grace of that, that's the only way that they got that touchdown before the half. Otherwise, they'd have thrown that ball to the 1 yard line and not had enough time to run a play. So I think the Cowboys are going to make a change. I think it's probably going to be Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel. Those are the two people I think it'll be. Jerry loves Bill Belichick. If I'm Bill Belichick, too, to kind of try to prove the Patriots wrong, I'm going to go to the roster that's the most built for the playoffs. Of all the open jobs, that would be the Cowboys. And try to put my stamp on it for a couple years and see if I can get another trophy and then ride off into the sunset. But I don't know how that, can Bill and Jerry work together, even though Jerry loves, and I mean loves, Bill Belichick. Loves him. How much will he love him when they have to work together?
I mean, I think there's a chance that Jerry, it's been long enough that the Cowboys have had, since they've been to the Super Bowl or even an NFC title game and, inducting Jimmy Johnson into the Ring of Honor this year, there's a slight chance that maybe he is softened with age and maybe bringing in Bill Belichick, a guy who has 6 Lombardi trophies on his wall, can come in and take more of a grip over the team than Jerry would let anybody else do. But at the same time, Bill Belichick, as a Cowboys fan, I'm skeptical because his record without Tom Brady is a losing record.
Yeah, that's true. And look, I just think he can look. Dak Prescott is good. He's not great.
Yeah.
And he had the best season of his career this year until yesterday. I think Bill Belichick can win with Dak Prescott. I think he can win with what they have on defense. I think he can make some personnel tweaks that can maybe get them past that level. Again, he doesn't have to build this whole roster. It's pretty well built. They have some holes, linebacker. They're going to have to do some things in the offensive line because, Tyron Smith's probably not coming back. The center is Tyler Biotish is a free agent. There's those things they have to deal with. Leighton Vander Esch probably not going to play again, linebacker. So they've got things that they've got to do. But I just think that, for anybody, this is a pretty quick build to, you don't have to, Jason Garrett set the Cowboys up to a certain level where they were very consistent. He just wasn't the dude.
Yeah, he hit his ceiling and got to coach for another 5 years.
Mike McCarthy inherited a good situation and added a little bit to it, but really when it came down to it, playoff Mike McCarthy was just not a good coach. Just wasn't the right guy. And so I think he's going to be let go because we got 4 years and 1 playoff win if you're the Cowboys, and you got to move on. So it'll be interesting to see how fast that moves. I know that maybe there might be some Harbaugh talk there. I don't think he's getting out of out of LA without that job. I think he's going to be the Chargers head coach. And if I'm him, that's kind of the one I want, But yeah, so we'll see. I think Belichick would be maybe most Cowboys fans' first choice, but to me, again, you've not without Tom Brady. I think maybe Mike Vrabel and his style might be kind of what they need, right?
Yeah, I was surprised when he didn't even get a glance at the Patriots open job, even though they went with Jared Mayo, which I thought was a good fit. But yeah, I would prefer, as a Cowboy fan, for them to go with Mike Vrabel over Bill Belichick because he's younger. He has proven that he can be successful, and he's taken some Titans teams that did not have a very deep roster deep into playoff runs with Ryan Tannehill at the quarterback.
Yeah, and look, you could maybe convince his running back, who's still very good.
And I think Tony Pollard, he's a fantastic running back, but he needs a 1A in order for him to utilize his absolute talents.
I think they need to thunder and lightning that.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, they need to thunder and lightning it and really do that. I hope that whoever, because Mike Vrabel's a defensive coach, they're going to lose Dan Quinn anyway. He's going to be a head coach probably in Seattle. They're going to lose Dan Quinn. So they're going to have the new staff is coming no matter what. So with the guys you have, DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons and Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs will be back next year, and all these great things you got going on. I think they're probably going to bring back Stephon Gilmore if I had to guess, just because he's at the point in his career where you can probably get him on good for both of you deals, where it's not a team discount, but it's also like he's not going to go sign a 5-year, $75 million deal somewhere, so you can get him on a team-friendly deal.
By NFL standards, he's a fossil, although a very good one.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I know there's a lot of talk about extending Dak and all that. I give Dak, and I like Dak, but I do think they need to get to the point of look, buddy, you got to start winning in the playoffs, and we're going to do everything we can to help you do that, but we're not going to give you an extension until we see that happen.
An NFC championship appearance at the minimum.
Yeah. I'm not one of these people Dak's got to go, but I do think they need to put Dak on the clock a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Dak haters, they actually have water to carry in their argument right now.
Yeah. The water to carry was empty most of the year. Right,
oh,
it was fantastic, and then they get to the playoffs and he played his worst game of the entire year. So, I don't know. He did, everybody did. There wasn't.
I wondered how hot Dan Quinn was going to be after that performance, because it wasn't just the offense, the defense. The Packers only punted once or twice, I believe.
I think they 3 times, but the last one was.
Yeah, when Sean Clifford was taking snaps.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Clifford the big red dog could have taken a snap in that game. It would not have mattered at the end. 48-32 doesn't tell the story of that game. That game was really about 48-15. Honestly, that was the score of that game, the way I look at it. I mean, it was just such a pants down spanking. Embarrassing even. So
And, I mean, kudos to the Packers, as much as I hate that sentence with all of my soul. But Jordan Love, he is peaking at the exact right time in his career.
Yeah, and he's about to, he's about to get a big new contract, which he's, I think, totally earned and shown that, the guy, here's the other thing. They built that team, they went on a youth movement. They probably need to get better on the offensive line, but every decision they've made is starting to work out for them. And the young guys are starting to come together, especially the wide receiver. Everyone thought they were nuts for going and getting, at least one veteran wide receiver in free agency to help Jordan Love out. And all worked out for them. Mm-hmm. All worked out. So the Packers just don't get first-round wide receivers. And, here's the deal. Historically, if you look at through Favre and Rodgers, Robert Brooks, Antonio Freeman, Javon Walker. Well, Javon Walker was a first-rounder. And he played with Favre.
Greg Jennings,
Greg Jennings wasn't a first rounder. Devontae Adams wasn't a first rounder.
Jordy Nelson
wasn't a first rounder.
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb. Antonio Freeman yet?
I don't think so.
Antonio Freeman, Donald Driver, for God's sakes, that's what the Packers do, no matter who the quarterback is, and they just find guys that make plays, and now it's Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks.
It makes me so angry, because you're supposed to go through hard times at some point, right?
Yes. No, Jack is on his way back from a bachelor party in New Orleans, and...
Oh, he must be so sad.
Yeah. I honestly...
he is.
There is no way that the first words I say to Jack... He's back tomorrow, right, Garrett?
I believe he should be back tomorrow.
I mean, based on the roads and everything, but... He's back tomorrow. It is 90-10 that he does not get a very warm hello from me. I mean, and I only say that because maybe I wake up tomorrow morning and, I like the world again. I don't know. We'll see.
There's a reason why I'm wearing this very loud Texas Rangers World Series hat, because I have to celebrate one of my teams that wins.
Yeah. No, and look, you should wear that hat. Although, here, this is just how Dallas sports fans have to deal with it. Hey, the Rangers won the World Series, but oh, wait, they might not have the TV money to go sign free agents because Diamond Sports Group is in bankruptcy court. Wonderful. And then the judge hey, we'd like to push this back. And the Rangers no. And Diamond's yes. And the judge is you know what, I'm going to side with the Diamond Sports Group. You're we would, like to sign a pitcher. Somebody, anybody, just please let us do something. All right, that's going to do it for us. Jacob, thanks for hopping in today. Certainly appreciate